A single sentence changed everything. "Sir, your mother is alive. I saw her in the mental hospital." The young employee's voice trembled as she pointed at the portrait hanging on the wall. The room fell silent. The wealthy businessman standing there felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. For 20 years, he believed his mother was dead. He had mourned her, buried the memory, and tried to move on. But now, a stranger was telling him she had seen her alive. Before we begin this emotional story, take a moment to support our channel Kindness Lights. If you believe the world needs more kindness, please like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us spread stories that remind people how powerful kindness can be. Now, let's begin. Daniel Whitmore was one of the most respected businessmen in Chicago. At 45, he owned several successful companies, lived in a beautiful penthouse, and was known for his discipline and sharp mind. But behind the success, there was a quiet sadness in his life. Daniel rarely talked about his childhood. Most people only knew that he had lost his mother when he was a teenager. After that, his father raised him alone until his father passed away years later. The portrait of his mother hung in his office. It was the only photograph he kept of her. Every morning, Daniel paused in front of it for a few seconds before starting work. It was his silent ritual. His mother, Margaret Whitmore, had been a warm and gentle woman. She used to tell him something he never forgot. "Daniel, kindness is the greatest strength a person can have." At the time, he didn't fully understand those words. But he carried them with him. One rainy afternoon, Daniel was walking through one of his company's hotels during an inspection visit. He liked to see things personally. He believed leaders should never lose touch with people. That day, a young housekeeping employee named Emily was cleaning one of the hallways. When Daniel passed by, he nodded politely. Emily smiled nervously. She had only been working there for 2 weeks, and she recognized him from company photos. Then her eyes drifted toward a framed portrait hanging on the wall nearby. It was a copy of the same portrait from Daniel's office, his mother's picture, placed there as part of the hotel's elegant decor. Suddenly Emily froze. Her face turned pale. She looked from the portrait, to Daniel, then back again. "Sir, excuse me," she said hesitantly. Daniel stopped. "Yes." Emily swallowed hard. "I'm sorry if I'm mistaken, but, this woman, in the portrait." Daniel looked at the picture calmly. "My mother." Emily's eyes widened. Her voice shook as she said the words that would change everything. "Sir, your mother is alive. I saw her in the mental hospital." Daniel stared at her at first. He thought he misunderstood. "What did you say?" Emily quickly added, "I volunteer at a mental health facility on weekends. There's a woman there, she looks exactly like this. I've seen her many times." Daniel's heart began pounding. "That's impossible," he said quietly. "My mother died 20 years ago." Emily shook her head slowly. "I'm not trying to cause trouble, sir. But when I saw this portrait, I was shocked. I'm almost certain it's the same woman." Daniel felt a strange mix of anger, confusion, and hope rising inside him. "Which hospital?" he asked. 2 hours later, Daniel's car stopped outside a quiet mental health facility on the edge of the city. The building was old, surrounded by tall trees and iron gates. Emily had come along to guide him. Daniel's hands trembled slightly as they walked inside. A nurse greeted them politely. "Yes, how can I help you?" Daniel took a deep breath. "I'm looking for a patient. I was told she might be here." He showed the nurse the portrait photo from his phone. The nurse studied it carefully. Then her expression changed. "Yes, we have someone who looks like this. Her name is Margaret." Daniel felt the world stop. "But, she's been here for many years," the nurse continued gently. "How many?" Daniel whispered. The nurse checked a file. "About 20. Daniel's knees almost gave out. 20 years, the same amount of time since his mother had supposedly died. They led him down a quiet hallway. At the end was a small garden where a few patients were sitting. And there, on a wooden bench, sat an elderly woman with silver hair. She was staring at the sky. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. It was her. Older. Frail. But unmistakably his mother. For a moment, he couldn't move. Then he slowly walked forward. "Mom," he whispered. The woman turned. Her eyes were confused, distant. But when she looked at him, something flickered. Daniel knelt in front of her. Tears streamed down his face. "It's me. Daniel." She stared at him quietly. Then, slowly, her trembling hand touched his face. "Daniel," she whispered. He broke down. Over the next few days, the truth slowly came out. When Daniel was 15, his mother had suffered a severe mental breakdown after a traumatic accident. His father, overwhelmed and desperate, had admitted her to the hospital. But instead of telling Daniel the painful truth, he told him she had died. He thought it would protect his son. Then, years later, Daniel's father passed away suddenly, before he could ever reveal the truth. And Margaret remained there, forgotten, alone for 20 years. Daniel couldn't stop thinking about one thing. If Emily hadn't spoken up, if she had stayed silent, he would have never known. He would have lived the rest of his life believing his mother